With that being said, turn to 2 Corinthians 10. This is scripture we all know.
10:4?
10:3.
10:3. Okay, 10:4.
Yeah. We'll get to 10:4.
This is my CB language.
Yeah. You're showing your age. Your CB language. Saying that's CB, not CD. As we move on in time, it's moved up a letter or two. I'm playing with you. I hope you know what a CB is. Yeah. Okay, good.
He watches TV.
He watches TV?
He rides Ice Road Truckers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what it is. I like that show.
Good show.
Rowan walks in and says, "What are you watching?"
And he walks out.
And then walks out. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead. Giving you time to get there. 2 Corinthians 10:3. It says, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh." Stop there. We walk in the flesh. How many believe that? Life is in flesh. You can't get away from it. You walk around in it. You wear it. I mean, look at how much time we spend prettying it up, making it smell good, and dressing it nice, and going to work to be able to feed it, and dress it, and house it, and give it something to drink, and have a nice bed for it to lay down in. All this we do for flesh, don't we? How many of you go to work, or do work, or have worked, or raised money, or do something for something other than your flesh? Everybody. When the first basic need is flesh. I mean, you want someplace. I don't want to sleep outside. I don't want to move my bed. I mean, we bought a new bed, and it's a good bed. That's strictly for the flesh. I mean, I've slept on beds that were as hard as that wood floor. And if I have to pick, I'll take my bed, thank you. Hard beds, no good. So it says, though we walk in the flesh, we don't war after the flesh. We don't war the same way the flesh wars. That right there is a difference from the Christian to the world. There's the dividing line. You want one of the dividing lines? That's it. The war. Everybody's in a war. We don't war after the flesh or the same way as the flesh. How does the world do it? How does the world fight? First thing that pops to my mind is throat chop. You go to the flesh, it's throat chop. I mean, that's if you're going to fight mean, or what's called a pineapple punch, a full hand punch to the eyes. That's the world's way. Or get mean, get nasty, get attitude, scream, holler, say bad words. Do whatever it takes to win. I've been there. I've done that. I mean, how many of you have lost your temper before? There's a couple of head nods. Everybody else is acting like, don't talk to me. That's the world's way. We use language we shouldn't use. I say we, I don't. Not anymore. But things get said that I shouldn't say, or we speak in ways that's mean. And like I've always said, you can't unring the bell. We say stuff that's going to hurt and going to be cutting. I'm going to make sure you hear me, because I'm going to say it mean, loud, and nasty. That's the world's way of fighting. We walk in the flesh. We don't war after the flesh. The same capacity or the same way the flesh wars. How do we war in the Spirit? As a Christian, how do we war? First off, we look at our enemy. It's not the person you're staring at. It's never the person you're staring at. Sometimes it's your own flesh. Sometimes it's their flesh. Sometimes it's just the devil. First thing you've got to do is identify, who am I fighting against? It makes you feel better if you can fight against that person. Always makes you feel better. Especially when you win. Always makes you feel better when you win, at least for a little while. Until the Spirit of God shows up and convicts you for the way you acted, and how you treated your spouse, or how you treated that other person, or how nasty you were to them. What kind of way is that? Would you like someone to talk to you that way? You know, that do unto other things is just, you just can't get that out of the way. You know, do unto others, you have others do unto you. There's times that if I could just win, I'd be all right. No, you wouldn't. Why? Because you're warring after the flesh. We war after the Spirit. What's a war of the Spirit? Patience, long-suffering, gentleness, meekness, faith. Rosie and I were having a discussion yesterday morning about something, and it didn't have anything to do with us. It was a kind of a bigger family situation that had affected her to some degree, and I was starting to step up. I mean, she said, "You at one point, what did you say? You're being awfully aggressive."
No, I said you picked up your fight.
I picked up the fight. I picked up my fight because I was in my chair, sitting forward, talking to her, and my eyebrows go up, and I get more animated and more forceful. And I said, "Yep, I know where the battle is. I know what's going on here." And I had identified what had happened in our conversation, and I was going at the devil. I was going at what was projected into our relationship. And once she realized and she said, "You're right, that's what happened." Took me a little while to come back down off of that, because I'm ready to, all right, devil, you want to fight? Let's go. Let's do this. What?
You can't say what it was?
No.
Okay.
Not on camera, no.
Okay. Well, I think I'll watch it.
Well, no, I'll tell you after. It doesn't matter. It's not that important right now. But what had happened was the devil had injected himself into this situation. And I was going at the devil. But I knew I was going at the devil. I could have got mad at her. Why are you acting this way? What are you doing? Why are you saying that? What's wrong with you? You know, you nuts. I could have said all this kind of stuff. But it wasn't her. It was just the devil trying to affect her thinking. And as quickly as it came on, it left. As quickly as it happened, she got out of it. See, we don't war after the flesh. We don't war the same way. We've got to realize, walking through this life, you've got an enemy. And he's a serious enemy. He's out to kill you. Are you out to kill him? Or do you believe in limited warfare? Your enemy doesn't. He's all out. I mean, he is just, nuke him. You know, he's screaming, nuke him, nuke him.
Destroy.
Yeah, steal, kill, and destroy. Spiritually, the devil's going to try and nuke you. What are you doing? Picking up a little club, and I'm going to hit you on the head. I'm going to pop you in the leg. You know, we're going to switch it. We have to get to where we're fighting spiritually. And that's what the fruit of the Spirit and the gifts of the Spirit, that's what they're for. That's what they're there for. To fight. To fight and take the devil on. I did not mean to get stuck there. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. You can't produce them. Isn't that nice? You've got to fight, and you can't even produce your own weapon. You know, we have I was joking with my agent the other day. She had our real estate agent. She had called and given us some news about the price, and we were squabbling over the price of the house. You know, going back and forth about the price of the house. And she called back and said, "I've got bad news." And they had come down on the price a little bit. So we talked about it while we were on the phone. You know, while she was still on the phone, we said, "Okay, that's fine. We can do that." She called back later, you know, a day or so later, and I said, "You better have good news." And she stopped. "Well, yeah, I think so." And she told me, and she had to come over for sign some papers. I told Roanne, I said, "Should I put my pistol on my belt?" just holster just have it here for when she comes in. It's not loaded. I've already unloaded it because we have people coming in and out of the house. But it's a .357 Magnum. It's a big pistol. It's a big revolver, and it looks big, and it's holstered, and I could put it on my belt. I said, should I just put it on my belt for her? That would be called fighting carnally. I didn't do it. I told her about it. But you see, we can't produce our own fighting tools. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty. And mighty means they're able. The weapons that we have are able, or they're excelling, or they're possible. How many would like to have an able weapon when you go to fight the devil? Your enemy's the devil. Your enemy's the flesh. An able weapon when you're fighting the flesh, is that your temper? Is that your attitude? Those aren't able. But is it patience? Is it peace? Is it joy? Is it long-suffering? Those are all able. Miracles. You want to fight the devil? Miracles are great. I think I told a story about us in India, when you went with that jeweler. The jeweler had come to, he had bought Lisa's, what was it, a bracelet?
A bracelet.
And the jeweler brought the bracelet to our hotel because, for whatever reason, and he got paid, and Steve paid him, and he gave Steve the bracelet, and the guy was on a motorcycle. And I don't know how Steve wound up on the motorcycle with the guy, but they went riding off into the night. And they ended up at his house and met his family, and his grandmother had a broken arm. And Steve's in there and said, well, can I pray for you? And pray for, she's Hindu. Pray for the woman with the broken arm. If I remember the story right, and God healed her arm while she's standing there. Am I right? God just healed her arm. Miracles are fun. That's exciting. That's an able weapon. Wouldn't you say? Her arm was broken and this done to it. Nothing, not moving. In pain. That's an able weapon. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. We have to switch our mind from the old into the new. From the carnal mind into the new mind. From the way we used to do things to the way we do things now. To the way God wants us to do things. And that's new weapons. That's new things in our life. That's new ways of thinking, new ways of acting. New warfare. Because so much of our warfare is self-inflicted. And that's what we don't realize. It's self-inflicted. What I do to myself. I have my actions bring problems, my actions bring bad attitudes on me, my actions cause me to do things that I have to have more actions and more actions to cover and keep it going. Well, we're fighting carnally because we try and attitude things instead of faith things. We realized in the last few years going through all this that faith is not drummed up. Faith is given. And it's planted and it's grown. My job is to keep the weeds out, keep the ground tilled, keep the water on it, keep the ground nice. I can't make it grow. I'm not a farmer. I don't know how to grow things. I don't understand how things grow. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a farmer. I'm a city boy. I understand street lights. I understand pavement. I understand mowing the grass. I don't understand growing things. But I do understand spiritually, my job is to do what I know to do is right. And that's fight the flesh. And that's fight the flesh with what He's given me already. That's where we lose it. We try and fight it outside of what He's given you. What else do you need besides the fruit of the Spirit and the gifts of the Spirit? What's not covered under that? What's not covered? I mean, the fruit of the Spirit deals with your mind, deals with your, deals pretty much with everything, with your attitude, deals with what's going to trip you up. It pretty much deals with everything, emotionally and spiritually. The gifts of the Spirit, they deal with your mind, they deal with your mouth, they deal with your flesh, they deal with problems that come up, they deal with stuff in the future, they deal with stuff in the past. They deal with stuff in the present. And God just pretty much got it all covered. He's done everything